So I'm gonna go ahead and spend some into heartfelt. I love that type of content. And then we have controversial. Hi, I'm Peyton, and I started The Attention Economy, which is a newsletter on LinkedIn to give you insights about where people's attention is, why it matters, and the psychology behind business, marketing, social media, and more. Today, I want to talk to you about something simple yet powerful: patterns. When we see behavior that only happens once in a while, we usually put it in a box. We consider it a one-off and write it off. Let's say that your significant other gets super impatient with you, and usually they're patient, so it seems like a rare occurrence. Do you hold on to this information and wait to see if it happens again, or do you just put it in the side of your mind and write it off? If you hold on to it long enough, you might notice something. Maybe they only get impatient when they're running late for something important like a holiday, wedding, work function. Under pressure, the impatience comes out. If you dismissed it as random, you might miss the insight. But when you track it over time, you realize it's not random, it's conditional. That's the essence of why tracking matters. You can't recognize patterns if you don't hold on to the data. This isn't just about relationships, it's the exact reason why human behavior data is the most valuable currency right now. Think about Reddit selling data to AI or Meta monetizing engagement. They aren't just trading numbers, they're trading behavioral insights like what people pay attention to, what they ignore, what they engage with, what they buy, what they resist. Finance tracks consumer trends against cycles and headlines. Web developers track web clicks, conversions, and user paths. Social media managers track tone, performance, and sentiment shifts. The numbers themselves don't matter. Understanding the people does. In my own work, from working in political media with a billionaire politician to consumer brands, film projects, tracking has always been the number one priority. Here's the problem. Most tools only give you up to 3 years of history. But if you want to see the true human behavior, you need to track patterns for as long as possible. Because the longer the timeline, the clearer the pattern. My suggestion is this: let's do it old school. Make sure that you are tracking via Google Sheets, downloading the reports, whatever you need to do to actually own that data and not just subscribe to it annually or monthly. Now, let's talk about attention buckets. This is a way that I like to visualize how we spend our attention. Imagine we have 4 buckets. We have entertainment, educational, controversial, and heartfelt. Okay, I'm gonna give you a visual on attention buckets. Imagine that these are buckets. I don't have buckets, but I have cups. And I'm a visual learner, and I'm sure that some of you guys are. But the way that we spend our attention, we have buckets. This is the way that I like to visualize it. So we have entertainment, educational, controversial, and heartfelt. Imagine these are the types of content and things that you are consuming in your daily life. This right here is our attention. This is how much time we have, things we like to consume, our personality type, our algorithm, and things like that. Okay, so let's say that I watch a funny video of the cat doing a trick and I send it to my friend. I just spent some of my attention. Okay, and then I am watching a Jay Shetty podcast clip. And he's interviewing some psychologists, and it's educational. So I'm gonna go ahead and spend some of my attention here. Okay, and then I actually see this video on TikTok, and it is about this guy feeding a homeless man on the street. I shed a tear, I save it, and engage with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and spend some into heartfelt. I love that type of content. And then we have controversial. And so this is scrolling on Twitter. This is reading headlines, things that there's a strife around. Sometimes we don't have a lot of attention for this. We're gonna go ahead and pour into this. And then I go ahead and see another heartfelt video. I'm gonna spend more of my attention there. Okay. Really like the heartfelt videos. And then we're gonna go back to entertainment because I'm just late scrolling at night and I wanna have some laughs, so I'm watching a Theo Von clip. We're gonna go ahead and pour into that. Okay, and let's say I wanna dive into another educational video, but honestly, I'm drained. I have nothing left in my attention. I'm drained, nothing left, we're empty. So this is what it looks like when we're creating content and consuming it. The consumer only has so much that they can consume. We don't have enough time and energy and emotional bandwidth to consume all types of content. And as the creator, people, we can only create so much content as well. But there's a lot of things that impact this. And I'm going to go over that. So let's talk about an example, which is a political cycle. One of the clearest long-term patterns that I've seen is tracking political cycles. During the US election years, people get flooded with controversial content. And by the time they open Instagram, they are desperate for an escape. But right after elections, data shows people gravitate towards lighthearted content and positive content. After years of debate fatigue, they want relief. Then 2 or 3 years later, they have the appetite for controversy and it builds up again and the cycle ramps back up. And here's the kicker. You would never notice that trend if your data only went back 3 years. You'd need at least 4 years to track that cycle. And it's not just politics. The same thing happens everywhere. Consumer behavior after holidays, donor behavior after crises, audience behavior after big cultural moments hit. Patterns always exist, but only if you zoom in far out enough. The mistake most businesses make is chasing these short-term spikes. Real strategy comes from zooming out, spotting our cycles, and predicting shifts before they even happen. At the end of the day, whether a spouse's impatience or a nation's collective attention span behavior only looks random until you zoom out. Data gives us that zoomed out lens. And when you recognize patterns, you don't just understand people better, you actually can anticipate what comes next. That is the power of the attention economy. If you found this valuable, make sure that you go ahead and hit subscribe, like, drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what patterns that you found in work or your daily life.